What is up, everybody? So, I'm back with a drawing video, because, that's kind of what I do, considering I don't have a good setup for video games. This time I'm drawing a character that I created for the RWBY universe. Her name is Hickey. She is on Team Jasper. I forgot her team name. Kinda feel bad about that, because I use Pine more than most of my other RWBY OCs. I do have her on a roleplay blog, Kanoisha. But, it's a OC blog, so it's not like it gets that much use. I do love this child, though. So the original drawing that I'm using as my reference here is something I had done a couple weeks ago, just kinda because I wanted to draw something angsty, and it had been a while since I drew Pine and Argent, which Argent belongs to my buddy Nathaniel. So I drew them, and I put Pine in a different outfit than her usual one. And I ended up really liking it, so I wanted to do something else with that outfit, thus this drawing, which, yes, is her pole dancing. She doesn't actually have a whole lot of experience with that, but pole dancers have really good poses that are just really fun to draw. So I figure, hey, why not? I did do the sketch off camera because trying to do the sketch and the line art and the coloring would have taken forever, which would have made editing it harder, because as is, the recording itself was 2.5 hours, then sped up 800%, took it down to half an hour. From there, I still had to cut out pauses and breaks and awkward bits, and finally got it down to 13 minutes, which you see here. Also, drawing this foot was a pain, and I cut out about 10 different attempts on it before I finally got it to an acceptable angle, because feet are weird, particularly in that position. I had to literally just stop and actually twist my leg that way to figure out what on earth is that leg doing. What on earth is that foot doing, not the leg in general. The leg's not difficult. This foot, on the other hand, was relatively simple, and I didn't have any issue at all with it. The fishnets were a bit difficult, though, because I don't know how they work around the knee, particularly on this leg. Well, only on this leg, really, because you can't see her other knee. But I did have a lot of fun with this drawing. It is a fun pose, it is a fun outfit, and I just love the character, so that really helps. And the end product that I got with this drawing is honestly just really cool. I am really proud of how it turned out. I almost forgot to do the fishnets on this glove. That would have been very unfortunate. And the brush that I'm using to do the colors, and actually I used it for the line art as well, is one that I created to emulate my buddy Alex's brush. It's not exactly the same because he uses Paint Tool Sai versus I'm using Metabang, so I can't get exactly what he has, but I took one of his art videos, paused it, and tried to emulate his brush because he has a really nice brush. And I do love how it turns out with the colors. Because it has this really nice, almost watercolor feel, but not quite. And especially when you use it on the same layer as other colors, it'll blend them together and it looks nice. In this one, I didn't do that a whole lot because I wanted the colors to be different and distinct. But in other stuff, it is really nice to have that sort of easy blend of the colors. And I will admit, my method for coloring things is maybe not the most efficient, because I am coloring outside the lines and then going around erasing the excess And then I have to deal with the little bits on the excess that you can't really see, and did I erase everything? And you'll see me later go back around all the edges to make sure I get everything. Because I know I missed things, but somehow this way of coloring is what's easiest for me. If I'm doing a full illustration with lots of different parts, I will go in and color everything gray and then use clipping to my advantage, but on something like this where it's basically just one item, one subject, that's not very efficient, so I don't do it on single things like this. But, you know, if it works, it works, and for me, this works. This right here is the one spot where I do use different colors on the same layer, so you can see that the green on the eyes is not the same solid green that, say, the hair and the shirt are, because it is technically all the same color. As for the freckles, I went and I did them, and then had to darken them, because I realized once I added the texturing for the skin, they wouldn't be as visible. I also realized while doing the texture on the shirt, I did not plan my light source, so I kind of just had to improvise with that. All in all, it turned out okay for not having a planned light source. Probably of all the texturing stuff, the skin did take the longest, because there's so much excess outside the lines to erase. And really, this is one place where I should have used clipping from the texture onto the skin color, the same way I would use colors onto the gray. And I'm only now thinking about this. I'm an idiot. But that's okay. I still draw, and even if it's not the most practical thing, it looks good in the end, so I don't care that much. It's about the only time where I care more for looks than practicality. It's when I'm drawing. May not do things the most efficient, but if it has a good result, then it's worth it. Anywhere else in life, I will take practicality over good looks. God, I hate when there's just two little pixels that ruin your dump paint. Once I noticed that, I fixed it. And doing the pull was a lot easier. Mind you, my pull's not technically straight, so trying to erase the center bit here was a little difficult, but I managed it. Blurred it, erased the excess, and ta-da! We have a very nice looking shiny pole. And then add a little bit of shadow from where she's, got arms and legs wrapped around it. And here you see me going around over every layer to remove the excess with a darker background where I can actually see that, hey, I missed and went outside the lines still. Because I know I do this, but a lot of the times if I'm just drawing for me, I don't care that much. This one, however, I do want to put up on Redbubble and Society 6, so I do kind of care because it's going to be sold and I want it to look good. Still not sure I'm pleased with that foot, but I don't think I could ever be pleased with that foot. It's a difficult foot. I am rather proud of the hands. They turned out well. Or at least the lower one did. Not sure how I feel about the upper one. They're at least not the worst hands I've ever drawn. I'll give them that. I got up here to the hair and realized I hadn't done any texture on it versus everything else has texture. So I had to finish what I was doing and then go back to that. Because it just looks weird having flat hair while everything else is all pretty and textured and shaded. Which, luckily, I know how to do hair well enough that it didn't take long. Just kind of floop, plop on some color, and then erase the excess as per usual. Because again, I didn't think to use clipping, and I'm an idiot. And then adding in some last little shading touches on the face, because I realized the face itself didn't have any shading and looked very flat. So, fix that up, shading, highlights, and then highlighting most of the edges of Pine with this very soft purple, or at least on my screen it looks like a soft purple. My screen also has really terrible contrast and doesn't allow me to change it, so may not actually be as soft as I think it is. The goal was for a soft purple. Because at this point I had thought about what lighting do I want? And I wanted it to be sort of backlit, but not like extremely so. And I was going to put a spotlight in, and it'd all have this like purple tint over it to bring it together. And I ended up succeeding on that very well, if I do say so myself. Had to play around with the layer settings a bunch to get just the right effect, but I got it. After many attempts. Ta-da! Hope to see you guys next time.